Welcome to another video, and today I'm gonna talk about some common mistakes low elo players make. There are some things that a lot of League players are doing wrong or just don't think about, and by acknowledging these mistakes early on might help you rank up more easily. Now sit back, relax, and maybe you recognize yourself in one of these things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the wrong usage of mana. This can go wrong in two ways. The first one is pretty obvious and not a lot of people are making this mistake, but that's using too much mana early on so you don't have enough when the fight breaks out. But like I said, not a lot of people have this problem. What I see more often is people being too greedy with their abilities. When you have enough mana, use your abilities to poke the enemies. Don't lane for more than 2 minutes while your mana pool is full all the time. I would say just use your abilities till you're around 60% mana, then you should be careful. Now let's talk a little bit about the junglers. When you are playing jungle, you have to keep a lot of things in mind. And one of the most important things is pathing. If you want to gank a lane, always think beforehand how you're gonna walk there. Take top for example. When you are in base and you want to gank top, it's very inefficient to take the wolves, then the frogs, and then go to top. Because if the gank doesn't work out, you will have to walk all the way back to the chickens. This consumes a lot of time and that's not very good, my friend. So instead, start at the crux and then work your way to top lane. Or of course, start at the frog and when you see a potential gank in the top lane, gank really quick and otherwise work your way to the bot lane. Think before you walk, my friends. As a jungler, it's all about efficiency. Another mistake a lot of newer players make is overextending. A nice rule of thumb is don't push under the tower unless you know where the enemy jungler is. Believe me, even if you have way more money than the enemies, it's a dead sentence if you push under the tower. Take this clip for example. Katarina Yuumi is a little bit weak in the laning phase, so we got pushed all the way back under the tower, but sneaky peeky Graves was walking behind them. And because Twitch and Thresh were overextending, they have to walk all the way back to their own tower to get to safety, and that's a long road. So we had plenty of time to kill them, easy peasy. The next thing is playing a new champion immediately in ranked. I know, sometimes when you buy a new champion, you really want to play him. And normal games might be a little boring sometimes. But believe me, when you never played a champion before, you need to practice it a little bit. Just imagine, you playing your first time Neeko mid, and suddenly you play against a level 7 200,000 mastery point set. No, believe me, that's not a fun time, not for you and for your teammates. I would say play your champion to at least level 3 to be safe. And of course, closely paired to this mistake is playing too much different roles. Especially when you start with League, it might be hard to find your perfect role. So my advice, when you're a completely new player, try every role out. Top, mid, jungle, everything. But when you decide to climb in rank, only play 2 roles. Your main one of course, and a backup for if you get filled. The next thing is playing around the minions aggro. Something you should know is that if you damage an enemy, all the minions will be aggro towards you. It's important that you play wisely around this mechanic, especially in the early levels. If you are playing bot for example, you want an early level 2, you can maybe hit the enemy once, then go in the bush and out the bush, and the enemy minions will die faster because your minions are still aggro on the enemies. And on top of that, you will poke the enemy and sometimes even deny farm. Just be careful for the damage the minions can do. At the early levels, it can actually add up pretty fast. So be careful and be wise when you want to trade with the enemy. The next thing is doing things with information. As we all know, you should be looking to the minimap at least once every 5 seconds. And when you see something, in this clip for example, you see the enemies taking the Drake, go for a counterplay. Because Mordekaiser knew he was too slow to get to the Drake in time, he decided to counter push top. And after destroying the tower, he knew he still had some time left, so he also took the enemy monster camp. Maximize your chance of winning, my friends. Especially the position of the enemy jungler is important. When you are playing bot for example and you see the enemy jungler in the top lane, don't ward the bush immediately. It will take at least 2 minutes before the jungler will be in the bot lane. So save your ward for now or use this knowledge to go for a deep ward. Very nice. The next thing is one of the most common mistakes and it's all about runes and items. A lot of people are just blindly copying builds and runes from sites like champions.gg or MobaFire. But don't get me wrong, those sites actually give good builds, but you have to give it also some thought yourself. When you for example search for an Ahri rune page, you see something like this. And overall this rune page is pretty decent, but you have to keep some other factors in mind. If you play for example against the Zed in middle, it's maybe not very good to take magic resistance as your runes. Instead, go for some armor runes to get you through the laning phase. And on top of that, if you play against a champion like Zed, consider buying a Sonias a little bit earlier. This way at level 6 you have a counter against the Zed ult. I know these things are pretty small, but it can really add up, and it hardly costs any extra effort. Another thing not a lot of people do is actually looking to your abilities to see how much damage they will do. And of course, compare that with the amount of armor or magic resist the enemy has. It's pretty nice now and then to check exactly how much damage your combo does. This will give you a lot of game knowledge and overall knowledge about your champion. On top of that, it works very good if you want to last hit Baron in combination with your smite. Of course, you don't have to check it every game all the time. In the end, it's all about the feeling. But a lot of people are not looking to this statistic, so why not check it out? It's 1 second work. You know, sometimes you have those teammates that are very toxic and only are raging. Because of those people, your motivation is likely going down and your performance will be worse. So big tip, don't let those people get into your head. Just ignore them, and if you can't ignore them, mute them. I know a lot of people don't mute teammates that are annoying, But believe me, you don't have to be afraid for the mute button. Because if your teammate is toxic, they're most likely not gonna give information or things like that anyway. Just ignore those guys and focus on the good players, the friendly players. Because most players are caring too much about their rank, they forget where League is all about. It's a game just to chill with your friends or even make new friends. So please, it's not about your rank, it's about fun, my friends. Good luck with your games and I hope I see you guys in the next one. Peace.